Hey guys, remember Empire Season 3, Episode 11 play on. I was definitely looking forward to this episode. I've actually, guys know, really been enjoying the season. And last week's premiere, I didn't think was the best episode ever, but it was still quite promising, especially the way things ending. I was interested in seeing really where we were going to go for this half of the season. And this episode, I gotta say, I thought this was just a little bit better than the previous one. I still did enjoy last week's, don't get me wrong, but I thought this episode definitely was a bit better. Like the rest of the season, things are definitely moving a bit slower, but I think it's really paying off for that, especially when we get to the ending of this episode. I mean, really great stuff overall. But most of the episode focused on Cookie and Lucia's relationship and really the direction that it's gone. So let's just get into it. We start off appropriately as Cookie is returning home after smashing Lucia's prized possessions, and she's wondering what she has done getting into the shower, and basically it was a good way to start things off. We see, meanwhile, the Empire staff is cleaning up the glass and blood, and I like the way that was juxtaposed with Cookie's kind of realizing what's going on, but she's also very confused as to where her and Lucius stand, because as we know, she started off the season, she told Lucius, look, I want nothing to do with you, I don't want you in my life, we're not a thing anymore. But now that he has come back into her life and is trying to mess things up with her and Angelo, she's kind of starting to realize that that's not exactly possible. If she wants to stay at Empire, and she still wants to have some sort of future there, and she wants to be with her sons, she kind of needs to have Lucius in her life. She can't just get away from him, even though just because she wants to. She kind of needs to have him in her life, and she can't just have one. She needs to have both, and I think it was something that was very well done here, especially when we get to this scene between her and Candace, where basically Cookie says that where she kissed Lucius because she is essentially addicted to him, and she admits that he was her first and only for over 20 years, and she reminisces back to when her father kicked her out, and Lucius put her in a motel room. It's actually the same night that they had sex, and I thought it was a very well done scene, seeing how she wanted it and he didn't want to, but she wanted it, and from there they've kind of been tethered to each other since. And Candace tells her that she does not need to tell Angelo that she only went a little cookie crazy and nothing happened, and she swears that Cookie's future will not be ruined against the likes of that Lucifer lion. She wants to make sure that she stays with Angelo and that Lucius isn't going to ruin this relationship, but it seems like that's inevitably what's going to happen, and it kind of sucks because I want Cookie and Angelo to be together. I like those two as a whole. But the question is, can Cookie really be in a normal relationship? And I thought it was interesting the way this episode really played with that. But Anika and Lucius then arrive at work. She asks what happened. He says that they're still going through security footage, and she kisses him. He meets with his lawyer. It seems everything's good between Anika and Lucius, which, okay, was kind of strange, but okay. But she kisses him. He meets with his lawyer, Thirsty, who introduces Leah to her new security detail. Leah gets cheeky. Lucius tells her to believe it, that that's what's actually going on. He's assured that the security footage has been erased, and he tells Thirsty that with Cookie and Jamal dropping an album soon, he cannot be distracted from Inferno at all. He needs to make sure that he commits fully to Inferno. This is supposed to be his return, the thing that's going to bring him back and put him back on the map at Empire, and he wants to make sure that that is where his focus is. And you definitely see that it stays that way throughout the episode. He's pretty much completely committing himself to Inferno, but that really is ruining a lot of his family life. His family life is already kind of gone to shit, but he's just making it even worse by ignoring them, and you really can see how addicted Lucius is to his music, and I think they really play with that very well here. So, Becky, Tiana, and Hakeem are busy with dancer auditions for the video for her next single. He shares enthusiasm about her debut, and this is what I wanted to see last week. Remember, I really wanted to see more of Hakeem and Tiana. This is exactly the thing I wanted to see. Hakeem being so enthused by what's going on, and him getting all wide-eyed about it, and he suggests that after this they go to his dad's and hang out with his daughter Bella, and I like that he wants to be a father to Bella. Like, he wants to be in her life, and Tiana says she isn't doing that. Bella already has a mother, and that's something that Hakeem really needs to rethink. If he wants to be in this relation with Tiana, Bella just can't be in it. She's not involved with Bella at all. They're not married. They're just dating, and that's something that Hakeem, Tiana isn't really ready for. She doesn't want to be in Bella's life, and basically Bella already has a mother. Leah arrives asking how Bella's future stepmother is, and Hakeem says that he may need her help there while her bodyguard is busy, and like I said, Tiana does not seem that that enthusiastic about being Bella's stepmother. She does not really want that, so I don't really feel like Hakeem and Tiana have that much of a future, unfortunately. I like seeing them together. Again, I like what the show has done with them. I think they've worked well together, but I don't feel like they have much of a future, honestly. And as usual, this is kind of the low point of the season, but Hakeem says he may need her help there, and while her bodyguard is busy checking out the dancers, she ends up slipping out the door, and at the studio, Jamal continues to work with Tori, and I love these two working together. I think they have such great chemistry. I think all their songs so far have been great. I love the song they did here. I thought it had the right amount of sass and edge, and I really enjoyed the song. I thought it's just the right amount of soul in there. They really are doing a great job with these two working together, and they joke about life, and they talk about music legends, that have influenced them and have been in their lives. And meanwhile, Andre and Nessa are beginning to look for a place to live when they're interrupted by Shine. And I like that Andre, he's just trying to move forward. Like, he is trying to basically move on from Rhonda. He's doing what she would have wanted him to do, and I like seeing that. But basically, he brings in all his business associates for Andre to meet, and Nessa looks necessarily concerned, obviously. So Andre says that Shine is the one who beat Lucius at his own game, and he needs to learn how to do that, because Lucius is kind of they're kind of in the lead right now. They need to stay on top of things, and I like that Andre is committing to this with Shine. If this were season 2, this would have ended already, but luckily it's not. This is still going on, and I'm very happy about that. But we see Frida, she's making a drop while Andre introduces him to Danger, who runs all the strip clubs around any hip-hop moves southeast of the market. He is their guy, and Danger wants nothing to do with Andre, and he spits on the floor when he tries to shake his hand. So Danger's definitely not someone that Andre can join to this group. Definitely that's not someone that he should probably be associated with. But I did like the way that they are trying to assemble this army against Lucius, because obviously, again, they're going to need those necessary allies to do that, and Frida is definitely that kind of person. Frida has a big reason for being against Lucius, and I think it's interesting the way that's going. So Angelo returns home, and she brings him to the couch after they hug, because she finally has something to tell him. He's excited to get back in the political ring until he sees a bruise on her arm, and you don't know what she's going to tell him. I thought it was going to be about Lucius' attack, but she tells him that it's nothing when he sees the bruise. Obviously, she doesn't want him to know about her and Lucius, but he picks her up, brings her to the bedroom, saying that no one's going to interrupt them. And again, you can just see how complicated things are for Cookie. She's committing herself fully to Angelo, but by doing that definitely comes with a price. It's not the easiest thing to do, obviously. She is in a relationship that is doomed to fail at this point. I hope things don't go badly between them, but I just feel like because of what Cookie's getting herself into, that's kind of where we're headed, and it's definitely going to be sad to see. So Cookie then comes to Lucius' office, calling for him. He responds that he's in the bathroom, and she's basically there to just let bygones be bygones. Tell him, look, I had a tantrum last night, I'm sorry about it, and can we try to move on? But right when that happens, Anika is with Lucius. They come out adjusting their clothes. She asks if they should talk about what happened last night. She just wants to make sure he isn't going to say anything about her turning into the Tasmanian Devil the previous night. He wants to make sure that she didn't come off looking crazy, which she did, but she admits that she doesn't know what got into them last night. Lucius says that she loves him, she will always love him, but she isn't ready to deal with that truth. And honestly, yeah, I kind of side with Lucius there. I think there's a part of Cookie that's always going to have this fondness for Lucius. Even if it's not love, I think he will always somehow be important in her life. Think of all he's done for her. I mean, he's the reason she even has a career. He's the reason that she has kids. A lot of what she's done in her life has been for that family. She went to prison for him. She's done all this stuff for him, and I think she's always going to have this sort of, contempt for him. Even though I don't think she necessarily wants to, I think it's always going to be there. Just, it isn't going to ever be able to go away. Those certain people that you always, remember having, you always associate them with either something good or bad. Well, that's her with Lucius. She associates him, yes, there's been a lot of bad stuff, but for her, I think a lot of the good outweigh the bad, and she needs to stop telling herself that she can't be in Lucius' life because she kind of has to be. But basically, he says he's moving forward, demanding to know when Jamal will be done with the album, and he says that he won't say anything about it. So Anika comes to see Becky about what is currently happening with her artist, and when she gives her an update, Anika says that she's excited to work with her, and even though she wanted the position that Anika got, she was only Lucia's assistant a few months ago, and obviously wasn't ready for it. So, which makes sense, obviously. Anika and Lucius have a lot more history, so, but she bets in a couple years that Becky will be in her position, and she tells Tiana that Becky is in charge and has her full and total support. That basically, that's how it's gonna go. That Becky is the one that she feels that Becky should be in charge, that Becky should be helping them out, and I like this. I like seeing this more positive side of Anika. The way that Lucia's giving her position has brought out the best in her. It feels a little bit weird, but it makes sense too. I mean, he's now giving her this position, and I like that Anika is being nice to Becky, telling her that you're gonna get that position one day. And again, it gives Becky more of a purpose on the show, and I think they've done a very good job with doing that. I think last season I heard people say, why the hell is Becky a main character, and I think this season it makes a lot more sense. They've given her a lot more to do. They've made her much more integral part of the plots, and I think that definitely they've showed that very well. So Tori and Jamal then begin to argue about the songs that they're creating. She just asks him to shut his mouth and listen. She plays some heavy metal, saying that it's like musical heroin, and Cookie comes in asking if she still likes drugs, and she shows her the door, but Jamal says it was just a joke, and they agree they need to mess things up because their music is just simply too clean. It needs to be a little bit more dirty, and they seem to find it, and Cookie reminds him that his father is not to hear anything that they're creating, and she leaves and says, play that funky music, white girl, which, again, kind of a cringy line, but, I like seeing these two work through that. I like that these two are working together. They're trying to find some sort of common goal. I thought that was definitely, again, I like seeing these two work together. I think they have very good chemistry, and it definitely was one of the highlights of this episode. So Leah meets with Tariq, informing him that Lucius gave Anika a job instead of tossing her. Now remember, Tariq thinks that Leah and him are on the same terms, that these two are working side by side, but as we know, that's not the case. Leah's actually working with Lucius, and, she's trying to get Tariq to listen to reason. So in many ways, this is damage control is what she's doing. She's just kind of getting into his head, getting information, and then reporting back to Lucius. But she informs that Lucius gave Anika a job instead of tossing her, and she tells him he has to do something about her, and he brings her inside for some tea. So I don't really know what she's trying to get at here, but basically, we know that Tariq is insistent on trying to find a case, and we'll see where that goes. But Jamal and Tori creating some great music, a different vibe than his previous albums, and Jamal is the producer to not wipe the hard drive as he might want to tweak it, and Tariq then stops Andre in the street saying that he's going after Cookie instead of Lucius, because a lot of what's gone down is because of Cookie. So when she tries to walk away, he serves her a subpoena, and when Lucius finds out there are going to be problems, he tells her to go home and act like nothing is wrong, and tomorrow he will pick up her and her daughter Bella to put them in witness protection. So you can just see that basically he's doing this to get into her head, and basically, if Lucius finds out what's going on, there's going to be all these kinds of problems. So, again, Tariq, I think, he needs to realize that there's not a case here, and that he needs to step back, really. He just needs to take a step back, and that as much as he wants there to be, there just isn't a case. So, Lucius arrives at the studio to find out what the idiots are up to. He hits play, listens to Jamal's new songs, and he turns on record and begins to play the piano. When Jamal returns with Cookie, confronts his father about it, that it is his time in the studio. But Cookie reminds him that when Lucius has a look like this, all he hears is the music, because Cookie flashes back saying to Jamal that she knows this look. Lucius isn't listening to anyone when he creates music. She remembers the moment that she told him that she was pregnant, and says when he gets like this, all he can hear is the music. He doesn't hear anything else because he's just that into the music. And I thought they did a really good job with that by focusing on the music here and showing that the music is what matters the most to Lucius. That was the problem with, I think, season 2, is that they didn't focus enough on that. But here, yeah, they really are focusing on the music, and basically, Jamal says the song is dope, the king doesn't need to prove who he is, and it is a good song. It's about, taking back the throne and everything, but it's not subtle at all. You can tell exactly what the show is trying to do. He walks out of the studio. Tori hangs back. When she decides to leave, he says that he really liked her stuff. So, basically, you can tell that Lucius is trying to recruit her and get Tori on his side, and this is where I wasn't really happy with the direction the episode took, but Andres then would shine at their studio. They stop laying beats and they talk about Raphael Green, that he had a spot on the Strip in Las Vegas and he's looking to book some legit talent, and Andre says he wants in. Remember, they're trying to do what they can to make Nessa the star that she should be. Rightfully so. I mean, she's very talented, and Andre really feels like she could be something big, and if Raphael Green, he needs talent, then they're going to bring Nessa in and take her to Las Vegas. So Shine tells Andre he knows about him having bipolar disorder, and he warns him that if he ever puts his hands on Nessa, that there is going to be consequences. We're reminded that this is, I believe, her uncle or something like that, but Green only wants to meet with Lucius, so Andre tells him that Green has to meet before Lucius would ever agree to see him. They have to do that. So he leans forward, tells Shine that he needs to keep Lucius alive long enough to put this deal together, because as long as Lucius is alive, then they can put this together. And he leaves saying he looks forward to meeting Raphael. So now we know really where this is going to go, that they need to try to keep Lucius alive to make Nessa a star, and once they're able to do that, then they can do what they can and kill Lucius. So you can really tell that Andre does have a good idea of what he wants to do. He has a good plan overall. Who knows this is actually going to work, because we know how powerful Lucius can be, but I do like the way, again, they are committing to this, unlike they have with other storylines, in previous seasons. So Anika is standing with the baby Bella, saying she's doing this for her and she loves her. Hakeem's limo arrives and she tries to hand him Bella, and he says call Juanita. Anika's insistent that he take care of her because he is her father, and she needs him to keep her safe, and for once in his life she needs him to step up. And he was willing to do that, but again, the position that Hakeem's in, Tiana doesn't want to be in her life, so there's not really much he can do here. So Portia then pulls Cookie aside, telling her the suspicious men at the entrance are looking for her. She calls Angelo, tells him to come get her right now, and Angelo informs her that she was right, that they're there for violating her parole for associating with a known felon, and he's trying to figure out why they're coming after her now. And he tells his driver to stop. He's going to teach Lucius a lesson, and he needs to know when to fall back with his corny ass hairdo. And I love to point that out because, I mean, yeah, Lucius's haircut this season, I don't know what Terrence Howard has been thinking. I don't know if he's going through a midlife crisis or something, but that haircut is terrible. I've never commented on it, but yeah, it is a pretty terrible haircut. Every time I look at him, like, what is up with that hairline? What is that hairline? Just, how do you wake up in the morning and think that is a good hair? It's terrible. It really is. It's all like curvy, and it looks fine in the front. It's like the back. There's just a whole like curvy thing going on, and it's like all there's like a flow of sorts, but then there's not a flow. It's just a weird haircut. I just wanted to give my 2 cents on that, because if Angelo can, so can I. And yeah, so Jamala then invites D Major over, tells him he's going with another producer for his new album. He backs off from D Major kissing him, saying that there is no them because they hooked up a bunch of times, and he is still not fully out, and that's something that D Major needs to do. He needs to come out, and D Major kisses him as he tells him he needs to recover, and D Major just isn't part of that. He's not part of him recovering. So Tiana's then furious that Hakeem brought the baby to her dress rehearsal. He says she needs to understand that Bella is his responsibility, and she needs to be cool with that part of his life too. So she kisses her, saying that she's beautiful. Hakeem tells her to hold Bella close so she can feel her heartbeats, and again, I mean, I like that she did come around. I thought it was kind of rushed the way this is going, but I like that he was able to tell her what was going on, that, baby Bella needs to be in his life. I thought that was well done overall. But Angelo and Cookie then come to Lucius's house. Angelo stands up to him and says that it's not a social call. He has Cookie and Lucius doesn't, and that's just how it is. He can't interfere with Cookie's life, and he demands to know why his parole was violated. He swears he knew nothing about it and offers to find out who did do it. And that's true. He had nothing to do with it. So Angelo grabs his arm. Lucius gets angry. Cookie jumps in between them. Angelo's phone then begins to ring. She tells him to take it, and Lucius says that he knows this is all Tariq. This has to be Tariq who is responsible. And Angelo finishes his call. He tells Lucius that he had to scratch his way to power and where he was born with his. Angelo threatens him, saying that if he were to come after him, he'd feel pain he never experienced before. And I love the way that Angelo just threatened him. They're very well saying of the tension there. But Nika's on a bus. She's heading out of town. Who knows where she's going? But Jamal and Lucius are walking out to the studio. Lucius asks him why he gets mad at him for such little things. He shows Jamal that his album then needs more space, and he now has a church studio. And they're joking around when he hears the Devil's Chorus, and Tori comes on the stage. So Jamal leaves very upset. Basically, Tori has gone over to Lucius, and I was kind of upset about this. I liked these two working together. I like seeing, Tori and Jamal. So I was kind of upset that Lucius was able to snag Tori, but it makes sense. Anyone that Lucius gets close to, he kind of just gets, when he needs them for music. And Jamal's upset, frustrated. They trusted Tori. He felt that they were vibing very well together, and it really sucks. I mean, these two had really good chemistry. They had some really, had some really nice sessions together. It seemed like they really knew, music very well. They were going through a very similar situation, and the fact they lost Tori kind of disappointed me. I don't really know where this arc is going to go now, but we'll have to see really what happens, I guess, throughout the rest of the season. So during a dinner, we see Candace believes it's time her sister had a proper wedding, causing her to reflect on her wedding to Lucius, which wasn't really a real wedding. And Lucius tells her that all he will ever need is her and him and their baby. And Cookie swears she didn't set this all up and says that after he becomes mayor, they can in fact revisit the subject. So I don't know if they're hinting that Cookie's gonna try to get together with, get married to Angelo. I don't really know where that's gonna go. But you can definitely tell that things are complicated. She knows she wants to have Lucius in her life somehow. She just can't not have him in it. So we then get to the ending here, and this ending was awesome. One of the best endings I think we've had this season. Andre meets with Raphael Green, and he drags his wife Juliana over. He asks if she knew that Andre was Lucius's son, and she confirms that is him, but she didn't know he was coming there, and he backhands her in the face, and he literally abuses his wife, and Andre says he doesn't like him hitting his woman. He tells his wife that he will deal with him later. When he turns around, she shoots him, and yeah, that was crazy. So Danger then attempts to shoot her, but Shine kills him instead, so Danger's then dead, and she offers to still do business if they are interested, regardless of who they are, and Andre's still interested too, since they have a place in Vegas, because they still can get that venue, so he shakes hands with Juliana, and that is the way this episode ends. Really great stuff overall, but let's just get this episode and where I think we're going to go from here. So overall, guys, this was another really great episode. I really did enjoy a lot of stuff going on here, but let's talk about Juliana, Andre, and Shine, because this is exactly the kind of person that Andre and Shine need right now. She was connected to Lucius, but now she's really not going to be. Andre and Shine can use her to their advantage, and if she does get close to the Lion family, all the better for it. She can convince them that Nessa's the shit, and that she should be, more talented, and then once Nessa is, a star, and she's able to, be of higher ranking in the Empire community and maybe be able to, actually have her own concert and outshine Tiana, then they can take down Lucius. And I think, again, that's a very well executed plan. I think they're really doing a good job of keeping this interesting, and I'm interested in seeing really what Juliana's going to do. We can already see Juliana has a spunk and a real fire to her, and she's definitely very direct with what she wants, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what she's going to do here. Welcome Neil onto the show, by the way. Very interested in seeing her on the show. I think she's a very good actress, and I'm interested in seeing what she's going to bring here, because from the promo, it definitely seems like she's going to create a lot of, she definitely is a force to be reckoned with, so I'm interested in seeing really where that's going to go. I think that's going to be interesting. As far as Cookie, I think Cookie is realizing that while she does want to be with Angelo, she also kind of needs Lucius in her life. She can't just not have him there. They've been through so much together, and they've helped each other in so many ways that after all these years, she needs to have him in her life somehow, and I'm interested in seeing, really how that's going to go. If Angelo wants that, or if not, I mean, I think we're definitely setting up she's going to stay with Angelo. I think she definitely does want that, but I think she knows that Lucius needs to be in her life somehow. They've just been through so much together. She can't just, suddenly shut him out after all they've done together, and I think it's something that she's just now realizing that after all they've been through, he needs to be in her life, and she just kind of needs to accept it, and kind of just take it as it is. So I'm interested in seeing really what's going to happen between them. I think that's going to be interesting as a whole. I like that Candace is trying to get her to talk about marriage, but I don't know if that's really going to work. I mean, we now know that Tariq is trying to pursue this case. I don't really know where this whole Tariq thing is going, and Nika now seems to be involved. I don't know if he's going to try to use Anika against Lucius, but Lucius really does need to confront his brother. I know that Leah definitely is trying to, do damage control with Tariq, but I don't really know where that's going. We'll have to see really what happens there. I think that whole thing, it's a little bit confusing, but I'm still very intrigued. I'm interested in seeing really what's going to happen there. I really like the way this episode focused on Lucius and the music, how much he cares about the music, how he'll do anything for it, and that takes principle over everything else in his life. You know, as much as he cares about his sons, the music is really what matters. But Jamal losing Tori was my least favorite part of this episode. I think that whole situation, I love those two working together. You know, they were both in rehab. They both went through very similar situations. They've both made a fool of themselves, you know, in public. And, you know, they both have very pressing issues that they can just deal with. And they can, you know, just be able to bond over music and, you know, release all that tension within them. I really like watching those two work together. So to see her go to Lucius, it just felt a bit out of character. I don't know what Tori was really thinking. It seemed like those two were working, and now it seems like a lot of all that was kind of pointless. So I'm hoping we see more of where that's going to go. I don't know really where we're going to go with that from here. If, you know, he's going to be able to get Tori back, or he's going to go over to Lucius. I don't really know where that's going, but we'll have to see what happens there. And I like Hakeem as well. I like Hakeem's whole thing where he knows that he needs to be a father to Bella, and he needs to have, you know, Tiana needs to realize that she also needs to be in Bella's life if she wants to be with Hakeem, and it looks like he did get through to her, so we'll have to see really where that's going to go. I thought Becky also played a good role here. Overall, guys, it was a definitely really good episode. I thought there was a lot of good stuff going on here. Again, this was definitely a step above last week's episode, but there still were quite a few things I am kind of confused about. I don't really know where Tariq's arc is going. I don't exactly know where the whole Jamal thing is going. Other than that, guys, still, this was a very strong episode. The ending really did make up for it as a whole. I'm interested in seeing really where that's going to go. Really, again, seems like there are a lot of things they're taking it slower, but by taking it slower, I think we're really building for a great payoff. You know, we only got about 7 or 8 episodes left this season, and I can't wait to see really where the rest of those episodes are going to go. But I really did enjoy this episode as a whole, and I am going to give Empire Season 3, Episode 11, Play On, a 4 out of 5 or a B+. So far, guys, I know you guys saw this episode, loved your thoughts on it. I really did enjoy this episode overall, and I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for the originals, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.